back to the Red Zone, viewers. We're continuing with the fourth of my top 5 games of 2015. If you haven't seen the earlier videos yet, then I highly recommend taking a moment to check them out, but then hurry right on back. In this video, we're going to take a look at a game that offers so much beauty and open-world adventuring that no JRPG fan could possibly turn it down. Of course, I'm talking about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Those of you looking for a modern, open-world RPG experience on the Wii U need look no further than Monolith Soft's Xenoblade Chronicles X. A spiritual successor to the critically acclaimed Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, X uses the same combat system and sense of adventure, but delivers them in an expansive planet to explore, complete with an entirely new story and cast of characters. Without spoiling anything, the story takes place far in the future after two warring alien races force humanity to abandon Earth and take to the stars in search of a replacement. While most ships evacuating Earth were destroyed by the warring alien forces, our ship, the White Whale, managed to escape unharmed, at least for a time. Eventually, some of the alien bad guys managed to find the White Whale and damage it to the point where it was forced to crash land on the planet Mira, where our story takes place. It's up to the lucky few remaining to ensure the survival of humanity. Now, if customization is what you like in your RPGs, then you're in for a treat. The game's protagonist is actually created by the player as a custom avatar before the initial exposition even takes place. The character creator allows for plenty of customization too, including gender, approximate age, eye, hair, and skin color, height, hairstyles, freckles, scars, makeup, and even tattoos or face paint. There's also a near endless amount of customization and management for inventory, skills, arts, and classes. As you play, you'll notice the various shops offer a constant flow of newly available gear too, which means your character will continue to take on a unique look from that of other players, which gives a real sense of liveliness to your character. I mean, people change clothes constantly, so why not have the characters in the game do the same thing? Even further customization is offered in terms of text-based dialogue options for your character during cutscenes, but this results in an oddly silent protagonist. Luckily, this is well complemented by wonderful voice acting for all the other characters. This voice acting extends beyond just the cutscenes to a variety of battle cries and taunts, which not only add a sense of realism and depth to both the characters and the battles, but also acts as important prompts to help the player know what to do during battle. It's important to work with your teammates to maximize effectiveness of certain attacks and situations. The battle system is pretty much the same as its predecessor, with characters automatically engaging in basic attacks, and the player deciding between ranged and melee, while also deciding when to activate specific arts, which are basically advanced techniques. There are several different kinds of arts, like more powerful attacks, healing, status inducing, status curing, buffs, and debuffs, so knowing how and when to use each is invaluable to winning battles. Listen to your teammates to know what they're up to, and when they need help, and keep cycling between offensive and defensive and ranged and melee attacks to deal the most damage while keeping HP up. I was admittedly distracted during battles from time to time, not because there's too much going on, but just because the music is so freaking awesome. It's difficult to categorize the music in Xenoblade Chronicles X, but it's almost like a cross between butt rock and heavy metal. Now that might not sound too appealing, but trust me, it does an amazing job of getting you amped up, especially while fighting tougher enemies, which come with more intense battle themes. Outside of battle, music constantly changes based on the area, weather, and time of day, but is generally far more calmer and quieter with a more orchestral feel to it, which is perfect for adventuring around the massive open map that makes up Mira. It's easy to be overwhelmed, not only by the size, but the beauty of the planet's lush green fields, calm clear ponds, deep blue lakes, white rushing rivers, dry dusty deserts, deep dark forests, sandy white beaches, and even molten hot lava. I can't tell you how many times I lost myself staring off into a sunset or sunrise. Monolith Soft's amazing displays of light and color incorporated into the skyscapes make it well worth your while to take time out from questing or grinding to just stand there and appreciate stargazing, meteor showers, aurora borealis, full moons, Milky Ways, or some of the many phosphorescent flora and fauna. Honestly, I can't decide which is more compelling, the story, characters, and gameplay, or the outright beauty of Planet Mira. That said, there are some very noticeable graphical limitations. Having a seamlessly massive open world to explore, filled with what feels like an unlimited number of creatures and artifacts to encounter, comes at a cost. And that cost is pop-in. While structures and landforms render from an impressive distance, smaller objects like base camps, artifacts, NPCs, and even some enemies suffer from significant amounts of pop-in. It gets so bad in some areas that it's actually possible to sprint directly into aggressive high-level enemies without even knowing they were there until it's too late. Prepare to suffer some very frustrating and unavoidable deaths. This can be made far less common though, especially if you approach the terrain with a little more care and avoid sprinting unless you're actually familiar with the area. Don't forget, Mira is a largely unexplored alien planet about which we're supposed to know very little, so running around like you own the place wouldn't really fit the narrative anyways. That doesn't mean you shouldn't poke around though, quite the opposite in fact. The game offers what feels like an endless supply of quests to complete, which will take you not only to all corners of the planet, but everywhere in between. Sure, enemies are literally everywhere on Mira, but there's a good mix of easy enemies to grind and tough enemies to fear scattered throughout the landscape. Some may be aggressively looking to pick a fight, but others are simply gentle giants who'll take no notice of you so long as you mind your manners. Even at the lower levels, you should be able to make your way across almost all of the initial continent of Primordia so long as you take care to watch your step. There's also plenty of exploration to be done inside the crashed ship, which itself is like a large city, with administrative, industrial, residential, and commercial districts. Poking around and chatting with fellow residents will not only give you valuable information, but can also lead to new party members and quests. Speaking of quests, Xenoblade Chronicles X offers an interesting online component involving joining squads to work with other players to accomplish specific objectives in exchange for specific rewards. Depending on what type of squad you join, players can also offer to help those who might be having trouble making progress with their quests. Of course, there's one other aspect of this game that I've yet to talk about, and that's the giant flying mechs. These mechs, called skells, can fly to previously inaccessible areas, be equipped with especially powerful weaponry for taking down the larger and nastier foes, and they can even transform into tank-like vehicles. It all sounds pretty cool, but be patient, because skells aren't available until about 20 hours into the game, and unfortunately, I'm only a little over 10 hours in at the time of recording, so I've yet to get behind the wheel. Won't be much longer though, because much like its predecessor, Xenoblade Chronicles X offers the kind of engrossing experience that stays on your mind even when you're not playing, and urges you to plunge yourself back into its world and story the very moment you can. In fact, I think we need to wrap this video up so I can get back to adventuring on Mira. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Are you looking forward to exploring all this epic JRPG has to offer? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. I'll have another episode ready for you soon, but in the meantime, stay in the zone.